Assalamualaikum. A very good morning. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. So just to inform everyone before we start, a few housekeeping rules. This session is recorded and please keep your mic and camera off throughout the session. So the Q&A will be at the end of the session. Alternatively, you may also type your questions in the chat box. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, to some of us, welcome back to campus. We sincerely hope that everyone is well and refreshed. It is our pleasure to welcome you today to another series of Research Rockstar Tour, where researchers from various disciplines share their expertise and research activities. The theme for today's session is Artificial Intelligence, AI, to computers to assist human to perform intellectual tasks for making better decisions and problem solving in research and development. Now, before we proceed further, we would like to welcome the Deputy Dean of Research from Faculty of Science for the welcoming remark, Professor Dr. Muhammad Sufyan Muhammad Anwar.
All right, thank you, Madam Chairperson. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Chairperson, Madam Valerie Casera, who is also the Coordinating Officer, Research Cluster Office. The moderator, Associate Professor Dr. Juan Junching, who is also the Deputy Dean Frontiers of the Natural World Cluster, and the distinguished speakers. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here today, and on behalf of the Faculty of Science, I would like to congratulate the Research Cluster for organizing the Research Rockstar series, and also for inviting the Faculty of Science to co-organize it. We are honored to be part of it. Today's event will put into the spotlight one of the most important fields in modern endeavors, that is artificial intelligence, or AI, which has become part of our modern existence, whether we realize it or not, or even whether we are for it or against it. It is already here and plays an integral role in our everyday life, both at personal and professional levels. Humans are going to be more and more dependable on the AI in the near future. If there is one area where AI can find its most utility and impact is in the advancements of the progress in science and technology. In the 21st century, research in the pure sciences, both fundamental and applied, rely heavily on the ability to digitalize so as to make efficient use of its data. Across the pure science discipline, and even more so when these disciplines intersect, enormous and complex data are generated. It is here where AI will play its most crucial role yet to improve the efficiency and diligent use of data through complete integration of curation, formal analysis, validation, visualization, and followed by intelligent recommendation of the next logical step in sciences research. Finally, on behalf of the Faculty of Science researchers, we hope that this webinar will initiate innovative ideas on how AI can render its invaluable services to accelerate scientific discovery. We wish you a fruitful and creative exchange. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Sufyan. All right, so without further ado, let's begin our Research Rockstar Tour Series 2. Dr. Juan, the session is yours.
Dr. Juan, you are muted.
Sorry. First, thank you, Prof. Sufyan, for this kind, welcoming speech. Right, that encourage us to make more collaborative works among our faculties. So, without the further delay, I would like to start these sessions. Today, we are very fortunate. We have 5 speakers Right. So these five speaker will take turn to give their short presentations, about 50 minutes each, right? And end of the sessions, right, it will have these discussion and Q&A sessions. So without further delay, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Adina Abdullah from Departments of Primary Care Medicines, Faculty of Medicines. And before Prof. Adina start the presentations, I will give some brief introduction about herself. Dr. Adina Abdullah is Associate Professor in Department of Primary Care Medicines, Faculty of Medicines. She obtained her first degree and MBBS from University of Nottingham, UK, and obtained her PhD degree in University Malaya. Associate Professor Dr. Adina Abdullah is actively engaged in teaching, research, and management works. She is the member of Primary Care Research Group. Her research is in the primary care medicines, health literacy, digital health, and patients empowerment. Dr. Adina, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Thank you very much, Prof. Joan, for that kind introduction. Let me just share my slides. Can you see my slide, Joan?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Adina. I'm a primary care physician at the Department of Primary Care Medicine in University Malaya, Faculty of Medicine. Is it still? Oh, sorry. All right. So today I am honored to be invited to be among the speakers to speak on the theme which is artificial intelligence. My research work or what I'm about to share with you today mainly about digital health and data rather than a full-blown artificial intelligence. But my belief is that without knowledge, there will be no intelligence. Similarly, without data, for me, patient data, there will be no AI. So just a short introduction into digital health. Digital health is defined by World Health Organization as use of technology, be it web-based or app-based, that help to improve patients' or communities' health and well-being. It is something that all health systems should be adopting, if not they need to at least consider the use of digital health. In Malaysia, there are some groups that are already looking at using digital health in the health sector in a bigger way. However, I think in universities, in Institute of Higher Education, it is more critical that we adopt and consider digital health because a lot of our students, the young people that come through universities are going to go out and become leaders, politicians, Ministry of Health, ministers of health and technologies. So they need to be exposed to the concept of digital health. How do we develop it, how we implement it, the ethical and consideration behind it. So I think like us in UM, looking into adopting digital health in a bigger way is something that we need to do. So just sharing of my personal journey. Like I said, I am a primary care physician. So I worked in Ruka Clinic in University Malaya Medical Center. As a primary care physician, we do see a lot of patients, what we call as the well people that have chronic diseases because they don't really have illness, they don't have acute pain, they don't have broken bones, they don't have a surgical emergencies that needs to be fixed, but they do have diseases that can shorten their life, increase their mobility, increase their days off work. So these diseases are also known as non-communicable diseases, and what sometimes we call as lifestyle diseases. In Malaysia, we are among the highest in terms of prevalence for diseases like diabetes, along with hypertension, obesity, and dyslipidemia. In 2010, when I was doing my thesis, and in my clinic as well, I do see a lot of patients with hypertension. And at that time, I noted that the digital home blood pressure monitors are easily available. Patient can just buy them from pharmacy, and actually it's thanks to the work by Omron in Japan, the founder of Omron, because they actually looked into how they can use technology so that patient with hypertension can monitor their blood pressure themselves at home. So previously, you have to go to the clinic to get your blood pressure monitored, and this is usually done by the mercury sphygmomanometer, and we measure your blood pressure as such. So, but with the new technology developed by Omron, they actually use oscillometric technology where they detect the movement of the blood in the vessels, the pulse, and they can estimate the blood pressure using that technology. So a lot of my patients are using that in their clinic. And I wondered, how does this new technology impact their care, and how I can support my patient in using this new technology to improve the care that we deliver for patients with hypertension. So from that research, we managed to publish the thesis findings. It's a qualitative study where I interview these patients with the home blood pressure monitors and ask them what they did. So there are some interesting findings. I'm sure you anecdotally also discover that. For example, if they found their blood pressure at home is normal, then they are more likely to stop their blood pressure medication even without discussing with their doctors. For some, they only measure when they have symptoms. For some, they do it every day, like religiously. So these are all new and interesting findings in terms of how our own patient interact with technology. But as luck has it, I was actually approached by the next speaker, which is Professor Loo from the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, also at UM, and Mr. Teo, which is actually at that time was from the industry, to explore more on the use of home blood pressure monitors and how we can then convert it into or develop an app where we can then do a telemonitoring. The measurement at home can be telemonitored to the doctors, so the doctors can deliver remote monitoring to their patient. So I don't know whether it's luck, because it seems luck favors the prepared. But when they came and approached us, we just grabbed on and decided to go on this journey with them. I think at that time, Prof. Loo was just transferred or pulled to UM from MMU. And so he had this open mindset, because honestly, before that, I haven't, no other faculties has approached us in the faculty, in my department at least, to say, let's work together on a project. So it was something quite refreshing. So we worked together. We actually created, I think Prof. Loo really created a spin-off company for us to work on this app, because at that time, Mr. Teo from the industry can see the potential of such a project. It was initially called a Chief app, but it has gone through many iterations and improvement, and latest is called a eHealth app. So this is all the way from 2012, and together we have gone through up and down. So maybe Prof, you can ask Prof. Loo these questions as well from his perspective. But I am very thankful for their support, especially Prof. Loo, because he was coming from the technical part, and as Mr. Teo, because he was coming from the business part. Because sometimes we academics, we don't really know how to have a business plan, how to sustain certain discoveries or invention that we created. We are so busy with other work that we do not really have time to think about that part. So I'm quite happy and glad that we stuck together until now. Another thing that happened after that is that as a group, especially as a department, we can see the potential of digital health, and more of my colleagues, notably Prof. Jen, Prof. Pang, and Prof. Vinod from the medical education, want to do more in this field. So we came together and created this group, really, or what we call initiative in 2017. We call ourselves the University of Malaya eHealth Initiative, and we have several members, notably those from the Faculty of Medicine, as well as the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. The key people from Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology are Prof. Loo, Prof. Chu, Tiam Ken, and as well as Dr. Liu Chi-san. They have been our partners in crime, to say, to help us to keep us going. We didn't have any grant or any money to run this group. We just decided to, meet once in a while, create, have some talks or have some discussion, go for certain grants together, just to work on the area of digital health. But in 2019, through the leadership of Professor Jen, we say let's do something a bit bigger. So we told the dean at that time, which is Prof. Adiba, that we want to run the research week. So this is a whole week of talks and activities at the Faculty of Medicine on eHealth. So we invited speakers from overseas, and local. We actually got the Faculty of Law to come together with us as well. Prof. Tay was instrumental in bringing other lecturers from Faculty of Law to talk to us about the medical legal implication of digital health, which is also a main issue at that time in terms of implementation. So we thought it was quite successful, and we even had a hackathon where the students from Faculty of Medicine and Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology come together and start to solve problems using digital health. We actually, Prof. CJ managed to get the Microsoft company to sponsor the prizes. So ever since 2017, we continue to develop apps from grants. So we are thankful with and clusters, especially. I think one of the other project that we managed to get from clusters is the Grand Challenge on Aging, where we worked on how to develop a app or web for elderly people, because we appreciate they might not be able to interact with design that's especially for young people. So we are thankful for clusters to support us on that. We managed to publish a lot of this research work based on deliverables of the grants. And we then managed to get more grants. I think Prof. CJ actually managed to secure NHIR grant to work on e-learning RLOs with University of Nottingham. So we kind of like start small and then try for a bigger grants, international and also national grants. Another thing that we did as well as a group is to network. And the most important network that we need to create is with Ministry of Health. Many of the policies and guidelines for digital health actually come from Ministry of Health. So one of the work that we did with the chief of eHealth app, we noted that without a legal framework, without a clear policy, our doctors, even if we have a good app or solution, our doctors are very reluctant to try out because they are worried about the implication on their professional life, and if patient might then turn around and sue them and in the use, because at that time, we're talking pre-COVID time, people are just taking a lot of time to come up with all these guidelines. People are thinking about all the different ways that things can happen. What if the data leaks? What if the patient is not ready to use it? What if we are not able to deliver it at scale? But as you can see, later on, with the arrival of COVID, things was done quite quickly, and we managed to solve a lot of this problem almost overnight. Another groups that we interact with is the Asian eHealth AHIN, which is a Asian-led group, a bit like our eHealth initiative, but at the Asian level. So we were member of, we presented at their recent conference, at their recent AGM. Another group that's coming up in Malaysia as well is called Digital Health Malaysia. It's an NGO, it's an established NGO looking into the area of digital health. Please visit their website if you're interested and become a member. They are currently actively recruiting members. So like I say, in 2019, COVID-19 pandemic arrived at our shore. And like I say, life was never the same again. We are trying to go back to normal, but it won't be all normal. It will be a new normal. But what COVID-19 did was that there is a pressure to deliver something quickly. There is a urgency to the problem. We always knew that we need to deliver. We always knew that we need to deliver patient-centered care. We always knew that we have to be able to deliver care at home. But with COVID, it becomes more pressing. And with COVID, we also see a lot more support in a new innovative way of delivering care. So one of the problem that we tried to tackle was people being monitored at home, because we noted that in primary care, at least, there are many people that come with mild symptoms and they don't really need to be admitted, but they need to be monitored. So from our own experience with blood pressure monitoring previously, we leverage on that and say and decide to put our effort into trying to solve that problem. So at that time, everybody was asked to be at home. Nobody knows what's going on. Lessons were suspended. I was actually still on my study leave. So we gather everyone together, students, clinicians, and computer scientists, artificial intelligence experts, and we meet at night through Zoom to try and solve these problems. At that time, we didn't even think about how we're going to pay for these people, how we're going to pay for our time. Everybody just wanted to contribute and try and solve their problems. So we came up in the end with this system called Cosmos, or COVID Home Monitoring System. The people that were involved in this group were quite amazing. They're like our ex-students that is working in China, that's been working in Australia, that come on board and try and help us to develop this system. So I'm sure some of you probably have heard about Cosmos, but we have started our full service since January, and we have monitored up to 1,400 staff and staff dependent in the system. The system has two parts. One part is almost like a chatbot delivered through Telegram to ask for your symptoms. And the other part is a doctor's dashboard where the doctor can monitor the patient remotely. Later on, you can see our team in UMMC that takes care of this patient. So I truly believe the fact that we have worked together from 2017 as a group that we trust each other enough to be able to develop this system in a very short time. Actually, we developed this system in 21 days. We managed to get this system up and running. And after that, it was on the responsibility of the clinician to get it into clinical care. And I must say the management of PPUM, UMMC has been very supportive. Dr. Saleh, Prof. Nazira, they had given us the confidence to deliver this care as a clinical service. So this is our small team. So we have a small group in UMMC on top of the Kecemasan, the ED, where they deliver their care. So we have 4 laptops, a few phones. Currently we have 8 doctors that deliver 24-hour care. So what I want to share today really is our journey. I hope I would inspire people to continue to explore the potential of digital health, to come together and do something that you truly believe in. So from eHealth initiative, this year, through the leadership of our Dean, Prof. April, the eHealth unit has been born. The unit is under the Dean's office, under Prof. April. The head currently is Professor Pang. We would love for you to join us. You can scan the QR code to get to our website, and at the bottom of the welcome page, you will see a mailing list. So join us on the mailing list. We will send you our activities. You can also email any one of us in any of the groups, the subgroups, if you're interested, so that we can have a discussion. So just something to ponder. If life is about making choices, why choose to be ordinary, choose to be extraordinary? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Adina. A very good introduction on the digital health. A lot of things we have learned today. Okay, so can we move to, Prof. Adina, stay tuned. We will have a session later on, discussion and Q&A sessions.
All right, thanks.
Yes. So let us move to our next speaker, Professor Dr. Loo Chu Kiong. Professor Loo completed his Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering degree with honours at University of Malaya in 1996. He then received his PhD degree at University of Science Malaysia in 2004. Specializing in artificial general intelligence and in application in cognitive robotic and connected healthcare, currently he is the full professor in the Department of Artificial Intelligence, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. Prof. Loo is also the recipient of JSPS Fellowship Award from Japan, George Foster Fellowship Award from Humboldt Foundation, Germany. He is the visiting professor at Tokyo Metropolitan University, Japan, and the King Mongkut Institute of Technology, Langkawi, Thailand. He received the Malaysia Research Star Award in 2019, Research and Innovation Excellence Award from Minister of Education, and Top Research Scientist Malaysia Award 2020 from the Academy of Science. So, the Prof. Loo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Zuan. Thank you for the audience. Very good morning. I would like to share my slide now. Okay, can you see my slide? Is it on the presenter skill?
Yes, yes, Prof. Loo, yes.
You see the whole slide?
Yeah, whole slide.
Okay,
yep.
Thanks. All right. Okay. Thank you and very good morning. So thank you also again, Dr. Adina, for introducing me just now a little bit. We have a very good partnership in the research until now. And yeah, as you say, we have gone through up and down, many challenges, but we managed to overcome. So today I'm going to give an overview what is AI and a more realistic view what AI can do for us. And more importantly, I hope can give some ideas and how we can empower our research and development and commercialization if with the AI. What is AI and why we have this emergent view of AI in the past 10 years? I think the major factor is driven by the data economy, the booming of data economy, which is the key factor behind the emergence of AI. Since 2009, the data volume is increased by 44 times each year with the help of the social media, social website, and so on. And this gives the exploration of data and give rise to the new economy, which is called data economy. And in facing this big data challenge, we really need very efficient tools to analyze the data, right, to make the data useful to us. And that's why it drives the development of AI behind the data science technology. Actually, in general, in AI field, we as an AI researcher, actually, we normally look at the AI in 3 different angles. Whether you are talking about artificial narrow intelligence or artificial general intelligence or artificial super intelligence. This is more a specific technical view. In general, all of us are more aware is about artificial narrow intelligence. The difference is artificial narrow intelligence is very much focused on very narrow range of abilities. For example, self-driving car. So the AI system is do perfectly for the self-driving car skill, right? And then we have another kind of AI, for example, playing the Go game, right? So we know that IBM has invented the supercomputer which can beat the world champion, right? But the kind of AI already very specific in playing the game, right? Not other things. And on the other hand, when we talk about artificial general intelligence, the AI itself can do multitask, right? Not only playing game, can drive car, right? Can do pattern recognition and so on and so on. So using this one architecture, one AI system, you can do many things. So we believe that this artificial AGI, we call it AGI, has an intelligence on par with human capacity, which we have multi-facets skills. And of course, we look forward that in future, probably we can something like artificial super intelligence, which is more capable than a human. Okay. All right. When should we use AI? Right. Whenever we face a problem which is very complex, especially dealing with a lot of data, large data, which is very difficult to process by human brain, then we may see the value of AI, right? And if the problem involves a lot of variable also, and with very complex interaction between the variables, so the AI also may do the good job. Okay, and actually there are many real world problems. You can't find any real existing formula or equation you can define or describe. So AI, which is data-driven, data-centric, it can learn the patterns by extracting the useful information without relying on any formula or mathematical equation. Okay, and another domain that we think that we have limited prior knowledge. Okay, maybe the area is very new and we don't have prior experience before how to deal with the problem or solving the problem. Then AI may help also. So in general, right? For example, in the face recognition, we can't really derive a very good handwritten rules on how to recognize a face. So everything is had to rely on the raw image itself and how you extract the structure from that and recognize the face, right? So AI can do a very good job in this. or in medical area, for example, the data is very dynamic, keep on changing, right? Every day, a lot of data transaction happen. So whether from hospital admission or healthcare records, it keep on changing every day. So we can't have a fixed rules, to describe everything, because you have to keep on updating and changing every day. So AI, we can use AI techniques to adapt, to learn the new experience daily, okay, and keep improving the performance. Without data, AI cannot. It's just like a fuel to AI, right? Data is a fuel to AI, right? So it is an energy source. So we have to understand what is data, right? In general data, there are two types. Either it's a structured data or unstructured data. Structured data refer to a data that have a very proper structure way of attributes, right? Either it's from the inputs or outputs, right? You can actually represent the data in a table form like this, okay? And unstructured data refer to any data which don't have a proper structure. You can't define the structure in advance. For example, images, audio, sound, text, and so on, which have a lot of different form, right? They don't have a fixed structure. The data we can either collect from observing behavior, or we can download from website or through our research collaboration activities, okay? And AI always relies on you must have a proper labeling of the data, what the data representing, all right? What is the output of the data you expect to see, all right? So we require annotations or manual labeling all the times, especially when we are dealing with supervised learning, okay? However, in real world, data is never perfect, I would say, right? There will be, because it will involve human annotation on the data, so it might have the possibility that we may have incorrect label sometimes, right? Because due to the inconsistency of the labeling. And we may have a missing value because of the poor transmission of the data. It may happen, or the failures of certain sensors. It may cause a missing data happen. So AI system is rely a lot on the quality of data. So if the data quality is not good, so we must take care of the data quality first, right? Okay, so that's why we don't throw the data on AI developer and assume it will be valuable. Okay, this is the takeaway message, okay, for us. AI tools, there are different data AI tools we have now. Either in the machine learning, data science, and deep learning, and so on. Okay, I will briefly describe, right, what is machine learning. Machine learning is actually a model that maps input to the output, right? You can see that if your input is an email and the output is whether you want to define whether it's a spam mail or not, then it is a spam filtering application. If the input is audio and the output is text straight, then it is a speech recognition application. So the AI, the machine learning, is a model that can learn from data, right? To deliver the application we want. Okay. If the output is a label, we call it classification. If the output is a continuous value, we call it a regression model. So what is the difference of data science from machine learning? Right? Machine learning is a model, mathematical model or computational model that learn from data, right? Data science is one step ahead, above. It tries to extract knowledge or insight from data. So this will involve human interpretation or human prior knowledge, right? So what is deep learning? So deep learning is a subfield of machine learning inspired by the structure and function of a brain. We call it artificial neural network. So the strength of deep learning is it is able to construct features from raw data, right? If the data, origin data is very unstructured, and using deep learning, we can get the structure out of it. For example, you see this in this application on face recognition, the low-level data is very how to say unstructured, right? Which is not meaningful to us. But as it processes to higher and higher level layer of the network, it will slowly filter out all the understandable structure of it, right? You can see the human face parts, and then later you can see the whole human face structure, right? So at the upper layer, then it is understandable to human, and we can make insight how to classify the identity of it. And deep learning, why deep learning is so important now? Because it is scalable. The more data you feed to the deep learning, the higher the performance it will become. So it is very scalable compared to the traditional machine learning. Okay. So what is the strength and weakness of machine learning and deep learning? It works well when learning a simple concept and big data available, but it works poorly when the learn complex concept from a small data. If you don't have enough data, it may not work as good as you expect. Okay, or you will ask to perform a new types of data, right? If the trained model is using the data type 1, and you ask the model to predict something out of it, use type data 2, then it may not be working enough, right? In this way. So there are a lot of constraints in machine learning and deep learning. That is something that we need to take care. So if you see the relationship of AI, machine learning, and deep learning, you can, in general, right? Although it is not definite, in general, we can say that deep learning is good to handle unstructured data. Machine learning is good to handle structured data, and AI, the highest level, is good to handle semantics, which involve human interpretation and interpret meaning, right, out of the information. So you can see the relationship. You see a big overlap between the data science and AI. So data science, we will need involve data transformation at the first phase to convert the data to a proper form or proper structure, right? And then at the middle part, you see there is the what they call the pink color region is a machine learning portion, and the deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Okay, so in data science, we want to interpret the data as well to give insight from the data, so that it can allow us to do a better decision. So this will involve human decision. And the combination of human decision and automatic decision from data, so that allow us to take action in the real world. This will involve the collaboration between data science and artificial intelligence. Because artificial intelligence involve the fusion of both human decision and automatic decisions, right? So we need the techniques in AI to, for example, to translate a human language, like natural language processing and so on, okay, to process the semantic meaning. So the key step in AI project, we can say that there are basically three steps. First, you collect the data, then you train the model, then you deploy a model and update the model, right? Like, for example, in the self-driving car application. I want to give you a more realistic view of AI, since I don't have much time left.
Yeah. Prof, don't have much time. Summarize.
Yeah. So the limitation of AI is it is difficult to explain, right? Sometimes it gives you give a good accuracy in prediction, but you can't explain why he did this prediction. So this is very critical in medical area. If we can't explain, it is not really, you can't collaborate with a human expert or medical expert, right? And second is in AI, sometimes it may give bias. It depends on the data, whether your data is biased towards certain sample, right? Because it's a garbage in, garbage out model, right? So if the data is biased, then the decision will be biased. So this is something we need to take care. adversary attack, right? You can simply inject some noise to an image, then it will totally change the decision from the AI system, right? So it's very prone to subject to adversary attacks. So this is something we have to take care. And it may subject to physical attack also. For example, in the first picture, you see a banana image, it gives a perfect prediction. But once you put a sticker beside the banana, it give you another output, right? So it is very sensitive, okay, to the physical attacks as well. So what is a possible solution? So maybe now a lot of researchers propose for any important decision from the AI, we should have the human in the loop, right? So because human can inject our prior knowledge to really explain the AI decision and make sure the AI is not prone to any form of attacks, right? All right. So how to empower research in? Okay, I have two or three more slides. Okay. How to empower research and development with AI, right? So I think it's very important. We have to leverage the AI expert and the domain expert knowledge both come together. So I think in we have a lot of very good AI researchers, right, from engineering from computer science. So please look around if you are interested to do collaboration. Fully leverage on AI expert, AI resource, and domain expert. We can do a lot of things together. Right, so I will skip a few examples. These are many examples I can give you how to implement AI in different areas. In science, we can apply for new planet discovery, for animal conservation, to discover new genomic structure, and many things. For climate change research also, there are many things we can do. Okay, and so on. For finance, there are many things we can do, right? For human resource, there are so many things that you can do the career path recommendation system using AI, for example, right? And many other things like chatbot and so on. Healthcare, right? There are so many things. Archaeology, even archaeology, we can do a lot of things.
Sorry,
right?
Prof, you should summarize the slide.
All right, okay.
Plenty of time.
All right, so yeah, so very important. The message I want to give is we must give a due diligence on any project, right? AI cannot do everything, right? But more important is we have a proper due diligence from the expert of AI and from the expert domain, right, to come out something that is useful. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Loo. I think there are a lot of information there. So of course we will have a discussion later on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Prof. Loo, again. So let's invite next speaker for Associate Professor Dr. Ezlika Mohd Ghazali. Okay. Let me give a brief introduction about herself. Dr. Ezlika Ghazali is an academic staff member at the Faculty of Business and Accountancy, University Malaya. With over 20 years of experience, she holds a PhD degree in the Warwick University, UK, where she received no corrections to her thesis, an MBA from University of Malaya and BBA degree from the Montfort University, Lancaster, UK. In terms of teaching, Ezlika have taught numerous marketing subjects, such as strategy marketing, marketing management, consumer behavior, electronics marketing, integrated marketing communications, service marketing and retailing, as well as conducting workshop on partial least square structures equation modeling research analysis method. She has also developed several courses such as contemporary issue in marketing and marketing data analysis at postgraduate level, and electronics marketing and fundamental of branding at undergraduate level. She is currently in the midst of translating some books related to autism to Malay from English. So Dr. Ezlika, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Is my voice okay?
Yeah. We can see.
Okay. So, can I request control so that I can control my slide, please?
Sure.
Can I control my slide now? Yeah.
You can share a
Okay.
slide.
Yeah. Right. Hold on. Yeah. Is it this one?
Yep. So,
Can you see now my slide? Or you see something else? No.
we-
Where's my
no,
slide gone? Hold on. Yeah.
Share your
Hold
team,
on.
Microsoft team.
Hold on. Okay. Where is my slide gone?
You want us to help to?
Yes. Can you please?
Yes.
But I've already made some changes, but it's okay. If you could help, it'd be better.
Now we have
Yeah.
the screen ready.
Okay.
So when you finish, then you can say next. Then the secretary will go to the next slide. Is it okay?
Thank
Okay.
you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're given 50 minutes. Thank you very much.
Yes, I will try to stick to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
If you know I'm overshoot, can you please remind me before, like maybe
Yep,
2
yep.
minutes or 3 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. Right. This is my name is Ezlika. I'm from previously was Faculty of Business and Accountancy. Now we have already merged with Faculty of Economics. So the name changed to Faculty Business and Economics now. So I'm from Department of Management. My expertise is in consumer behavior. So I don't know really how to develop AI, right? My research is basically on human behavior. To be exact, is consumer behavior. Yeah, when you consume something, consume a content, for example, how do you feel? How do you, what emotion has been elicited, evoked? Your motivation of using a content, your motivation in, for example, adopting a new technology, those kind of area. So it's not really limited to AI. It can be virtual reality. It can be any new technology. I've done research on adoption of smartphone, for example, or smart wearables. I've done research on mobile commerce and so on and so forth. Yeah, a lot. It can be applied to AI as well, because it's more of a the behavior, the how when people consume certain new technology, how do they behave? How do they feel? Whether they want to stop using it or continue using it or switch to another product and so on and so forth. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, these are basically some of the areas of that I'm interested in. Yeah, if I were to do a research on AI, I haven't done any research on AI. To be frank, I've done research on new technology, new products like smart wearables and Pokemon game and Dota 2 and so on. Yeah. My research is basically looking at the individual and personal effects when you use something new. You use something, you adopt certain products, right? Like for example, the technology in terms of AI, maybe you need to see whether the potential user or your segment that you are going to that going to use the AI, the platform is ready in terms of their readiness in terms of technologically, the adoption level, how the AI platform or system is diffused into the market, because in consumer behavior there is this theory called diffusion of innovation theory. Yeah, where a new product, especially technological product, is not that easy. It is to be diffused in the market. Diffuse means it's not easy for it to be take up by the segment, by the customers or the consumer or the users. It can be users, or it can be organizational users, or individual users. Yeah. If the technology is easy to use, it's not complex, it has certain benefits, it will be faster to be diffused. Yeah. Or a lot of people can see it, right? Faster observability, we call it. It can be observed. Things that cannot be observed, like for example, water filter. Okay, water filter in our, we have in our house, we have water filter, but it takes long for a water filter to be diffused. It take maybe 10 years to be you can see that all the household in Malaysia have water filter. But for mobile phone, mobile phone very fast. Okay, 2 years it's already diffused into the market, because it can be observed, it can be seen. You can see people put their mobile phone on the table, for example, in the cafe. So even laptops, yeah, very easy to be diffused. So I also look into that kind of research. Yeah, we call it adoption level or diffusion innovation theory. All right, and the intention to continue using technology. Some we try, right, but we don't have the intention to continue, right? And why some consumer or some users continue using something for so long without changing, and why others switch? There must be reason, right? So we look into that as well, and certain emotion evoked while using new technology. New technology is very exciting, you see, especially for a person that is very innovative in terms of their personality. They like to try new things, yeah. So why they like to try new things? So what are the emotion evoked when they use this technology, right? Emotions such as enjoyment, emotions such as fun or pride, that you feel that you are having a status symbol, for example, because you use technology. Like I know people who use like, for example, new AI platform like Amazon's Echo or Alexa, right? When you call Alexa, hey Alexa, right? You feel like there's a social presence in the house. So there's certain emotion evoked that make them excited. It's not only about utilitarian benefit actually when you use technology. All the research that I've seen, yeah, especially professors or researchers that develop AI platform, like just now we see digital health, right? They focus mostly, which is important, I understand, utilitarian benefit, which is the function, the functional value of the technology, right? Of the AI. Why, how can this AI solve certain problem? How can this AI platform or system, make people life easier, right? Solve problem. That is, we call it utilitarian benefit. Benefit that is functional. Yeah. There's another benefit actually that makes people stay with the technology. That is hedonic benefit, the excitement, the happiness, the joy, right? It's not only the function, so the hedonic as well. There's also other function or other benefit like symbolic benefit. Okay, symbolic benefit like feeling prestigious, right? When you use something new. So we look into that as well. So this kind of research can be like a research after the platform has been developed or AI has been developed. Like just now we saw the Cosmos, no, is it software app, right? So we can do research on the perceived usability of Cosmos, how easy is it to navigate Cosmos, the color scheme of the Cosmos, the user friendliness or the intuitiveness of for example, the link in the Cosmos or the buttons, right? Intuitiveness. So this kind of research, usually human behavior research, are done after something has been developed or during, before, just to understand what customers or the user needs. What do they actually want? Yeah. Then you can come up with you can develop a platform that is more user friendly, so that it is better and it's faster to be diffused into the market. And another is motivation to use certain things, right? These are the antecedent or the factors influencing people to actually buy or purchase certain platform. And certain situation, like now the pandemic situation, like we are forced, not really forced. We know that it is important to do things fast. Times to have an app that is convenient, right? We know it is important to have meetings online to get our what we call that, to learn how to use certain platform like Microsoft Teams and so on. But now it is more pressing because of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So it's the situation sometimes that force a person or a user or potential user to take up certain things, okay, to take up a technology. So we me and my team also do research related to this. And another, it could be also switching costs and switching barriers. Sometimes when we use certain, new technology, new platform, like for example, Google Echo, no, the Amazon Echo, it's an AI, it's a what we call that? You can talk to it, it is more like human-like. It even pause, when you ask something, when the Amazon Echo asks you, the machine even pause, right? So it's more human-like, right? So this can become a switching barriers for you to change because you are happy, okay? And there's also a switching barriers where you are unhappy, where you are stuck with certain thing because you used to it, right? So once you are stuck with a certain platform like Zoom, for example, it's very difficult for you to move to Google Meet. Actually, it's not that difficult. It's just in your mind, it's psychologically. So these are some of the variables under switching costs that make you stay, make you stay with a certain products and not switch. All right. So this is a bit different than loyalty. Loyalty with certain product is you are not forced to be loyal. You love certain things. Switching cost is more of a, it can be love as well as it could be, something that you are forced because of certain switching costs. All right. So I've already explained about hedonic and social benefit and so on. And then also consumer experiences, right? When you use AI, or even virtual reality, right? There's certain experiences that being evoked or elicited because of certain user experience that you have, right? Yeah, the experiences. So consumer experience and user experience are a bit different in terms of the definition. User experience is in information system area. You use the terms user experience, where you look at the experiences in terms of that, whether it's easy to navigate or not, whether the something is user friendly or not. So all this positive experience from the user will translate to consumer experiences, right? This is a different terms, consumer experiences, where we talk about emotion, about motivation, about attitude of the consumer, right? So we look into that as well. Also some research on the concerns on AI, right? Some people are apprehensive about new technology, their confidence level, as well as this is very pertinent, the security and privacy. A lot of research have shown that, when you use AI, you tend to not reveal you are worried, okay, to purchase products, for example, and use your credit card, and you are worried about hackers, for example. So we can also, collaborate and do research on the concerns of users. All right, next slide, please.
Dr. Ezlika, can you summarize?
Oh, okay. Finish already. Right. All right. I can.
Summarize. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. So you can see here how important it is, to look at the variables that can influence individual behavior, intention to use a technology. It's not only about building the technology, it's about if otherwise you will be building, you will spend money building a technology, but you don't understand the consumer that gonna use the technology. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, these are some of the research that I've done on, this is SLR, systematic literature review on virtual reality. Okay, you can, this is a paper from my PhD student actually. Okay, next slide, please. All right, these are some of another paper that talks on smartwatch adoption, looking at diffusion of innovation theory. We can also do on AI, the adoption of AI technology, any adoption, maybe, Google Echo or Apple Siri, So you can see that these are some of the characteristics of good innovation that the developer of the product need to know. The triability of the innovation, the more the perception that it is easy to try, the higher the what we call that, the instances of an innovation to be diffused into the market, because it's easy to try. That's why we try car, right? We go and try car because it's expensive. We need to try first. We go to the we check the, before we buy a house, we go to to check the house and visit the house first, right? So we need to try. And a relative advantage, the user have to have the perception that this new technology have a relative advantage than the old technology. Okay, they have to be sure of that. They have to believe in that. Ease of use, another one, compatibility with whatever. Like for example, that's the reason why we take up certain, like Apple, for example. Once you buy an Apple, you will buy all Apple because it's compatible with the other machine, right? So you don't want to switch anymore. And then observability, like I said just now. So this research is on that, on smartwatch adoption and how all this influence the adoption of smartwatch. All right, next slide, please. Thank you. All right, this is on Pokemon. Okay, at one time I was crazy about Pokemon and collecting monster. So I did a paper on this. Okay, on UGT theory, which is users and gratification theory, looking at the enjoyment, the feeling of flow when you use a new technology. Flow is, in Malay we call lara. Okay, like you are in your own world. The time seems to stop. Okay, when you use technology. Okay, this is a flow theory, right? When you use technology, sometimes you are like Facebook, right? You didn't realize that you have already spent 1 or 2 hours on certain technology on your phone. AI also is the same, right? A certain new technology. So look into that as well, right? This is the motivation of continuing the intention of playing Pokemon Go, right? At this time, Pokemon Go is going down. People play, it's a fad, right? People play for a while and then after that it's tapered down. So then I did this research to see what makes people continue to play Pokemon Go. Okay, and I know all the Pokestop in UM, right? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is last slide.
Yeah.
This next slide. Okay, this is on. This is a very old paper looking at the adoption as well of M shopping technology, looking at using TAMP, technology of acceptance model, and TPB, right? So this basically, most of my research are a survey-based research using structural equation modeling, either partially square, MOS, or SPSS. That's all, I think, for me. Hope that my talk is a bit useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ezlika. It's very interesting. Pokemon, yeah. I remember I also play Pokemon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you. Stay tuned. We have the Q&A session later. Okay. Let's just move to the next speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Ilhaamie Abdul Ghani Azmi. Let me briefly introduce Dr. Ilhaamie. She is currently serving at the Head Unit of Leadership and Wellbeing in Dept. She's the Associate Professor at Department of Syariah and Management, Academy of Islamic Studies, University Malaya. She has obtained her PhD at USM, MBA from UKM, and BBA from IIUM. Furthermore, she was awarded as Visiting Fellow at University of Wollongong, Australia, and University Malaysia Kelantan in 2013, and Visiting Scholar at International Islamic University Malaysia in 2019. Due to her passions in research, she registered with the Global Agency Research, International Association of Computer Science and Information Technology for a lifetime member, Migration Research Center as an associate member, and Islamic Management Center as head of researcher. She also served as the head of department that she affiliated with from 2002 to 2003 and 2008 until 2011, and PhD program coordinator from 2014 until 2016. Prior to that, she was the external relation coordinator in 2001. Last but not least, she organized 4 international conferences so far pertaining to the moderations, Islamic finance, Islamic entrepreneur, and also Muslim intellectual. So the floor is yours, Dr. Ilhaamie.
Thank you, Prof. June.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
sorry, your voice agak perlahan. Kurang jelas betul?
Yeah, the voice is a bit shaking because like some wind is blowing.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Better.
Better, okay. Alright, okay. As like Dr. Ezlika, I would like to control my slide. Is it okay? Can I
Can you share your slide? Yeah. Can you share your slide? By the way, Dr. Ilhaamie, is this some fan blowing at your face or something?
Yes. Because I'm hot.
But the sound from the wind, it's not very clear, so that's why your sound is a bit broken.
Yeah. Okay. Is my slide okay now?
Yeah. We can see your PowerPoint. Okay. You have to click the presentation mode.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay. As introduced by Dr. Juan, okay, I'm Dr. Ilhaamie, okay, from Department of Syariah Management. I would like to talk about entrepreneurship in AI, okay, since our main theme today is about AI, and I've been teaching entrepreneurship since 2009, along with marketing management and also other courses, like HRM, OB, organizational theory, strategic management, corporate governance, contemporary Islamic administration. So these are my previous research. Two of them are from RU research grant and two sabbatical projects in 2013, and one is a partnership grant. And these are my postgraduate work, whereby four of them are on entrepreneurship and three on marketing. And these are my publication on entrepreneurship and marketing. All of them are 26, ranging from entrepreneurship and marketing. And also all sorts of book chapters and also journal articles. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is the process by which individuals pursue opportunities without regard to resources they currently control. And what are opportunities? Opportunities is a favorable set of circumstances that creates a need for a new product, service, or business. So it means that in order to be a businessman or entrepreneur, you need to have opportunities and not ideas, because opportunities have economic values or commercial values, meaning that you can sell them and people are willing and able to pay for it. Then there's a market for it. However, if you have only ideas, then they are not opportunities because there are no economic values. So meaning that you need to embark on SWOT analysis and also feasibility study. So from the SWOT analysis, if we find that there are more threats than opportunities, then it's not your opportunities, they are just ideas. So what are SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis is a technique developed at Stanford in the 1970s, frequently used before business setup in order to assess the internal factors and also the external factors. So strengths and weaknesses are the strength, are the internal factors, which are like employees, processes, whereby opportunities and threats are the outside factors, whereby you need to assess the outside factors, such as new product development, about the cost, and also about the environment, about your customer, and also about your material, energy, and transport costs, and also your competition. And in order to be a businessman or entrepreneur, innovation is very important. And you need to have a clear define of innovation. As Thomas Edison said, that anything that won't sell, I don't want to invent. So I mean that if you want to be a businessman, you need to be innovative. But to be innovative, it's not enough, as there should be a market for your innovation. According to the major classification of innovation, there are four major methods of innovation, which are invention. Meaning that there should be totally new product, service, or process, such as aeroplane, telephone, light bulb, and also The second one is extension, okay, such as new use of different applications such as lawnmower, solar panel yard sale, or innovation can be in terms of duplication, which is creative application of existing concepts such as motorcycle or pizza parlor, or it can also be in terms of synthesis, that is combination of existing concept and factors into a new formulation of use. For example, like smartphone. And smartphone is a combination of three components, which are handphone and camera and music player. According to Dublin's, okay, there are many types of innovation, such as product innovation, process innovation, organizational innovation, management innovation, production innovation, marketing innovation, service innovation, architectural innovation, technological innovation. So if you define your technology in terms of technology, then it can be divided further, okay, into 4 parts, which are sustaining. Okay, sustaining is a significant improvement of product that aims to sustain the position in an existing market. And disruptive is technology or new business model that disrupt the existing market. Incremental is gradual, continuous improvement on existing products and services. And radical is technological breakthrough that transform industry, often creates a new market. What is a business model? So a business model is another important thing in entrepreneurship. Business model is a holistic perspective on the overall setup of the business and includes every process along the value chain. A business model answers 4 questions. Firstly, what do you offer to customer? Secondly, who is your target customer, or what is the segment of the customer? Thirdly, how is the value proposition created? And fourthly, why it is profitable. So these are the standard or common types of business model. Actually, there are many types of business model, hundreds of them. But for this purpose of introduction, I have only 11 of them, okay, which are razor and blade, or called as bait and hook, pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing, auction, bricks and clicks, loyalty, servitization, low-cost carrier, direct sales, distribution, and franchise. So what is a razor and blade model? Razor and blade model. In this model, one item, which is razor, is sold at a low price, while another associated item, which is blade, is sold at a premium price. This is also known as a printer and cartridge business model. For example, the price of inkjet printer itself was just a one-time expense. However, getting a new ink cartridge replaced is an outgoing expense for consumers. Examples of companies that use this kind of business model is like HP printers, and it's very obvious, and Gillette. And next business model is pyramid scheme. This model functions on the sole principle of recruiting members by promising them a reward in the shape of payments or services if they agree to enroll others into the scheme, rather than supplying investment or sale of products. Next is multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing, or called as network marketing, is individuals selling products to the public, often by word of mouth and direct sales. Examples of companies that use this business model is like Amway, Herbalife, Avon, Mary Kay. Next is auction business model. This model is based on the bidding option to buy a product or service. This model is, although not very common now, it is still used for industry like auction, real estates, collectibles, and the sales of businesses. There are 2 types of auction business model. First is forward auction model, which follows a strict pattern of setting the highest prices and let the buyers bid accordingly until the prices start to drop. A reverse auction business model is popularly used by businesses seeking suppliers, whereby eligible suppliers bid lower and lower at each subsequent round to entice the business and win the contract. Business model is break and click business, which is a type of combination of online and offline business model. And next is loyalty business model. Loyalty business model reward customers with points for each purchase and includes tiers of rewards that customers can unlock as they spend more and more. Examples of company that use this kind of model is like Starbucks rewards, Amazon Prime, Apple. Next is servitization. Servitization is where customers pay for a service such as air conditioning rather than buying the equipment themselves, and also paying for repairs, paying for spare parts. So companies that use this kind of business model are like Xerox, Caterpillar. Next is low-cost carrier business model. This business model consists of the lowest price strategy for the basic product or service by keeping the basic price as low as possible, and additional amount is charged for the other perks and services that are offered with the main basic service. And the example is very obvious here. And next is direct sales business model. In this model, products are directly sold to the end customers, either in a one-on-one conversation or small gathering, like Tupperware, Avon, Herbalife.
Dr. Ilhaamie, sorry, I have to stop you for a while. Can you summarize because we are running out of time?
Okay, so next, so what is the best business model for AI? So as introduced by Prof. Loo, okay, we can see that AI can become in three forms, which are products. For example, like software that facilitate warehousing, production, logistic, or services, such as system integration or customized software or solutions, such as product or services and website. An example is like Lelong brand. So from my introduction to the standard business model, okay, I can say that the best business model, okay, could be from standard business model, okay, like what I said just now, okay, distribution, free of clicks or servitization. But okay, it also can be digital business model. So what is a digital business model? Digital business model, okay, is a model that leverages digital technologies to improve several aspects of an organization, from how the company acquires customers to what product or service it provides. A digital business model is such when digital technology helps enhance its value proposition. So as you can see from this slide, okay, there are several types of digital business model, okay, such as e-commerce, which is used by Amazon and Alibaba, or on demand, which is used by Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, and subscription based, okay, which is used by Netflix, and freemium model, okay, which is used by Spotify or Dropbox, and peer-to-peer two-sided marketplace, okay, which is used by Uber, Airbnb, and also LinkedIn. Ad-supported business model, digital business model, okay, which is used by Google, Facebook, Twitter, and hidden revenue generation, okay, which is used by Google and Facebook, and finally open source model, which is used by Mozilla. Okay, next I want to talk about business model canvas. So after you have decided the business model that you want to use for your business, either is standard or is it digital business model, okay, you have to plot in, okay, into your business model canvas, okay, which consists of 9 parts, which are key partners, key activities, key resources, value proposition, customer relationship, channels, customer segment, cost structure, and revenue streams. So I would like to show you, okay, an example of business, okay, which use this business model canvas, which is Alibaba Group. So Alibaba Group, okay, AI, okay, is very integral, okay, in Alibaba. So Alibaba use AI for prediction, what customer might want to buy, and also to generate products.
Summarize in 1 minute, yeah, please. Sorry to disturb you.
In brain city project, and also managing traffic. All right, so actually, okay, there, I have other examples, okay, like Netflix, Uber, and also Tesla. So all of them, okay, use AI, okay, in their business model, and these are some examples of successful, okay, business nowadays. So I hope that from my presentation, you have some ideas on how to go about with innovation, and I hope that our innovation is not just merely innovation, but it can be sold to the industries. With that, thank you. Okay, Prof, back
Thank
to
you
you.
very much. Thank you for your very informative presentations. The last but not the least, sorry, we have our last speaker, Professor Dr. Ahmed Hussein Kamel Ahmed Elshafie. Right, before he start, let me introduce him. Professor Elshafie received his Bachelor of Science and Master of Science from Department of Civil Engineering from Cairo University, Giza, Egypt in 1993 and 1998. In 2003, he received his PhD in Water Resource Management and Planning from Department of Civil Engineering, Cairo University under Collaborative Academics Channel Program with the Civil Engineering Department, University of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Between 2004 and 2007, he was a postdoc fellow at Department of Electrical and Computers Engineering at both Royal Military College of Canada and Queen Universities of Kingston, Canada. Between 2007 and 2015, he is the Associate Professor with the Smart Engineering System, Department of Civil and Structural Engineering, University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. Presently, he is the Professor with Department of Civil Engineering, University of Malaya. Prof, the floor is yours. Thank you. Prof, your...
Okay, thank you very much for your introductory and very nice introductory. And actually, at the beginning, I would like to really thank you very much for making such kind of initiative, for organizing such kind of events for the Rockstar, which is really open avenue for a research collaborative among the team here in Malaysia from different faculties. It is actually somehow like after listening to the previous speech, it is somehow like open a new avenue for me to, to look at some application for the artificial intelligence and so on. So let me share my screen for, can I share my screen from here? Actually, it looks like.
Prof, you can share your screen, please. Can you?
Snapshot. I don't know how it is somehow like. From where I can share, I just try to share the content, but I don't know, I did not give me any control for that or what.
Yeah, you can push button there is a share with the arrow button.
Yeah, this is what I usually use, but now there is no browse from the computer.
Secretary, can you share Prof slide?
Yeah, it would be better, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to go for next slide, you just let them know next. Then
okay, sure.
Next slide.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Yes, thank you. So is it possible to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, after looking at this presentation, actually, I'm here would like to share some artificial intelligence application, mainly in engineering. So, in fact, would you please to move to the next slide, please? In fact, I already start my journey in almost like the year 2000 during my PhD study. Actually, it was quite a very interesting challenge about how to develop an optimization rule for a particular dam that actually it is a multi-purpose. So I face at that time a pattern recognition problem. So among all of this, I go through a lot of techniques that it was available at that time to develop this kind of pattern recognition, but it was a really unique tool at that time in order to make a proper classification or identification for the patterns that we are going to use. So the AI came to my mind at that time to start work with. And with a bit comparison with some other techniques that it was available at that time, the AI show outstanding performance. So it was the first time journey with me. So it was somehow like I use the AI as the classical one at the time, the multilayer perceptron, as a pattern recognition technique. So it is somehow like I don't want to go more in the deep detail about that, because I think that Professor Loo and he already introduced a lot about the basics, fundamental of the artificial intelligence and their upgrade from time to time. So I will focus mainly on the application. So the first things here is the pattern recognition. And as we can see here, it is somehow like to develop operation rule, optimize operation rule of the DAM operation. So when we actually, we can go further since, would you please to move to the second slide, please? So when we go further, it was really a very interesting study at that time, which it really take long time. It is somehow like the military application, but it moved to be a civilian application as well for the vehicular navigation. When I was working in the Royal Military College, it came to our brain somehow like at that time the vehicular navigation only rely on the GPS, the satellite signals. But due to some reason, such kind of GPS signals, it could be deteriorated or could be actually outage. So at that time, we are thinking about top up this system, the GPS, with somehow a local system. We call it inertia navigator system. It is a mechanism that it could be also show the coordinate of the vehicle based on the gyroscope. But the problem there, it was this kind of sensor in the gyroscope was quite expensive. And in the meanwhile, the drift error is very high. So we aided the inertia navigator system with the AI in order to be able to detect the error. So the system is switching to whether you are using the GPS or you are going to use the INS with the help of the AI in order to have a proper coordination for the vehicle and have a proper navigation. During the GPS outage, whether you are in the downtown or somehow in the canyon or wherever, those places that it need to be accessed by the military vehicles. And recently, actually, it goes to be like for also civilian vehicles. So the system was quite successfully for the expensive sensor. So this was according to the type of sensor. But then when we go with the low cost sensors, that it might be reasonable and really could be like from the economic point of view, it might be doable to be used in the civilian car. So we are going to micro electromechanical system, which is a MEMS. So still the error is very high. So we go, can you move ahead one more slide, please? Then okay, so one more slide, please, and then we will back to this. I'm really sorry. So we go further with this kind of the dynamic intelligence data fusion system in order to be able to not only develop the positioning system, but also for the velocity. So the system at that time, it could be able to detect the velocity, and hence with a particular integration, we can identify the position of the vehicle But then the beautifulness in this model is actually we are using the very low cost sensor, so it was applicable, and hence some companies actually we are sharing with them. I don't know what is going on now in this kind of project, but at that time we approaching to achieve a very good accuracy to the error is almost within the lane, the size of the lane, which is almost like 8 meters. So with a very low cost, sensor. So actually with the cooperation with Novatel at that time, we already also developed the system, and we already examined it in the vehicle, and we make a different trajectory along with the Canadian environment in different state, in different province. So the system was really successfully, but so far the system is after I left already. I don't know what is the further on there. And then we back to the previous slide, please, and the previous slide, please. Okay, so now after we already successfully in that time we have been called to examine also the AI system to with the submarine. So actually we are here looking at the sonobuoy as a sensor in the underwater, and then we are trying to, in this case, to make a prediction for the angle of the target for the submarine. So, but at that time, the system was really relying on having two sensors in the same time, and then we can really, at that time, we can make an estimation for the position of the target of the submarine. But unfortunately, for some reason, we can only detect the data acquisition system at that time can only sometimes detecting the signal from one sonobuoy, which is the sensor underwater. So from where that it will be difficult to make to make an estimation for the accurate targeting position. So we, with the help of the AI, we already achieve also that with only one sonobuoy, with one sensor sonobuoy, we can able to make a proper positioning. Yes, at that time it was not really 100% accurate, but we can really achieve a way better estimation for the position of the target relying on only one sonobuoy of that, which is actually most of the cases. I'm not saying most, but most of, nearly average reading from the data acquisition system can only acquire from one sonobuoy. So at that time, the system is really helping a lot in making the position for the submarine. So would you please to go further to slide? And then since I joined, actually the nature of this application is actually mainly relying on what we call it the drift error, or a systematic error in a system mechanical system, which is the sensors. So actually there is a noisy from someone. Would you please to mute?
Hello, Secretary, can you mute the person that?
Okay.
Yes, I already mute the mic.
Okay, thank you very much. So now when we move from this kind of a systematic and drift error from a mechanical system, we are trying here to examine also the applicability of the artificial intelligence for some other type of system data, which is a stochastic at the time, or random, which is something like a natural variable. So since I joined UKM, I start to investigate the potential of this kind of system. artificial intelligence modeling with for the river flow. So we examine it as one case is somehow we are relying on the data as a time series. We are already with the help of the Department of Environment, we already got quite long-term record of data for the stream flow, and hence the system already can recognize different pattern of the inflow in the river. And we are here approaching not only to develop a forecasting model for the river flow for one time ahead, but also we are successfully for 3-time increment ahead. So it was really very successful, and from that moment, I start to look at all the natural variable that it could the artificial intelligence help, because as Professor Loo highlighting at the beginning, it is somehow like what we call it, no equation here or no formula that can really give a perfect calculation for the stream flow. So the only solution, and also definitely it is a quite complex problem that a lot of variables actually get involved in the value of the river flow. And in the meanwhile, this river flow is very important for the water resources decision maker in order to develop a proper water sources planning for the future. So when we are successfully here to develop a model that can give a quite good picture about the forecasted river flow in the future, it gives a chance for the decision maker to take a proper decision for the planning. And hence, we already, can we move to the next slide, please? But then, the time series is not really usually available for quite a long time in order to develop a successful AI model, as also Professor Loo highlighting at the beginning. So, and from the hydrological point of view, there is a concept as well that we have to consider as much as possible the available variable and available data. So from there, we are here developing a model that it could be useful to make a prediction also for the river flow, but relying on the upstream monitoring station for the stream flow as well in the system river basin. Here, for example, here, this is a river, the Nile River flow in Egypt, and another 10 country of the African in the East Africa. So this river, as you know, as mainly know among the hydrologists, that this one is the longest river all over the world and also the most ancient one. And it is actually necessary to have a picture about the river stream flow at a certain critical point along with the river. So from there, if we are look at the schematization of the river basin, as we can see in here, we can see that we can, from upstream station, we can make a prediction or forecasting for what it's supposed to be the river flow here, and taking into consideration the hydrologic procedure. Because according to the system here, the water come to this point from a certain upstream monitoring station from this source, and from other part of the year, the water mainly coming from this source. So taking this kind of hydrological aspects into consideration while developing the model, it gives a higher level of confidence about the accuracy achieved from the model, plus more accurate forecasting accuracy for the model as well. So can we move ahead one slide, please?
Yeah, Prof, we are running out of time.
Okay,
summarize.
It will be just very fast. So it is also one more application here which has been developed in Johor Bahru River. Actually, it is somehow like also we go beyond that for the environmental aspects. So with the same procedure, we'll be able to provide accurate water quality prediction classification index at a certain point, that which is critical according to is a certain development. But also we are relying on the upstream, and this one actually helping to what we call it cost effectiveness. When we have such kind of modeling, we could be able to really don't go with a lot of cost expensive for the lab analysis for the water sample. And however, we still can achieve a good water quality index, and that can give us a proper picture about the status of the water quality of the river. One more slide, please. One more slide, please. And then the previous one, please. Actually, we already go further with some other development of the model. That definitely there are some other the model alone, the artificial intelligence might not be working well with the raw data, especially when it is really randomly and nature, the stochastic in nature. So we are here adding a value for how to treat the data before introducing it to the model. So we are here actively producing a lot of other pre-processing analysis for the data before feeding this data to the model in order to finally achieve a proper prediction. This is, for example, here we are using the wavelet modeling. As a pre-processing analysis for the data and the denoising. So can we, one more slide, please? And then finally, also we are taking into consideration some other new optimization algorithms that it might help during the training for the AI. So we are here also introducing a few number of very advanced optimization algorithms in order to be integrated with the AI model in order to also achieve faster convergence for training, and which it might be suitable for the real-time application like in the hydrology and the rainfall forecasting as well. The next slide, please. And just before the final, this is in the convolution neural network. Actually, also now we are taking into consideration that there are a lot of other application has been applied for the hydrology in general, which is satellite image and the remote sensing. So which is actually needed for some data image processing, and also from there we can feed a very particular advanced neural network model, which is a convolution neural network, which is mainly working with the image processing, and we are still working on it. We did not examine it yet. All other previous application and model is already developed, but this one is still under process. So we are hopefully that this type of the neural network could help to make a better analysis and processing for the image that have been receiving for the landslide, land use, and so on for the hydrological aspects as well. So the last slide, please. And currently we are having a very strong project with the United Arab Emirates, that one related to the groundwater. Actually, this is actually a quite some complementary the water resources, and it is actually #1 in Emirate, but it is could be considered as a complementary here, as long as we are here relying on the surface water, but also the groundwater take part in some location here in Malaysia. So we are here focusing on the groundwater, but the groundwater actually has a lot of problem regarding the monitoring and actually the geology of the soil and the aquifer, and how dynamic it is and how the abstraction is it, and also a bit not highly record of data regarding the groundwater. So we are expecting that we are going to use a lot of technique in order to finally have a proper modeling for the groundwater in terms of the groundwater quality and quantity. See, we are planning to have a somehow pre-processing and also classifier and also try to make a denoising. And finally, we are going to make a further modification in one of the most important AI model, which is the ANFIS, Adaptive Neurofacial Inference System. So we are hopefully with this project, with this joint international project that funded from the AUA to achieve a good result. So this is all what I can share with you so far. I hope that it is actually benefit, and once again, I really appreciate the idea. A lot of things that it already opened an avenue for me to start to look at for the sharing with my colleague here for further development of the AI in several application and fields. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof, for again, very impressive presentations on the AI. So we can have this discussion session here. Can all the speakers turn on their camera so we can have our session here? I think we can also accept some questions from the participants. If you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. I will try to get the answer from the speakers. So we are behind the time. So I just want to ask all the speakers here. Number one, your ideas on the AI in Malaysia, right? Of course, like China and the US is advanced in terms of AI, right? And also Japan's, they come up with the robotics and so on, and also the integrated with the AI. So in Malaysia, right, where are we going in the future? What is the potential of Malaysia into harvesting this AI technology? So this is the only questions lah, and your last message, right, about this AI. Okay, so we start with again with Professor Adina. Okay, what is your take? First is the two questions here. What is your take on the AI in Malaysia? And then second is your last word lah, or last message.
Right. Thanks a lot, Prof. Wan. So in terms of the medical field, I think currently the issue with AI medical field is, like Prof. Loo said, is the data. We haven't got enough structured data to be able to use the AI effectively. And we need to further develop the explanatory AI part, because the doctors are very cautious to use AI when they don't know how the AI is making the decision. So I think those are the two main areas for medical. But I think another thing about AI as a whole is they need a new PR. People have to go out and say AI is good, because all that people community knows about AI is Terminator and all those things that's really scary. So they need a spokesperson, maybe a very like Prof. Ezlika. I'm looking forward to work with you, Prof. You have to excite the emotion in people. So when they hear about AI, it's good because they are using AI. For example, with My Sejahtera, even my parents know they can look for the hotspot. But if you say AI, they don't want to use it. But if they want the information, they want to use it. So AI needs a PR makeover to say that it's good. And in medical field, we need to develop the explanatory AI and make sure we have the data all structured and ready to use. Okay. And my last word probably is I'm so happy to have this session today to meet all the other researchers. I think this is a very good way of advancing us forward to share our work so that we can work together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, on these things. We move to Prof. Loo. Prof. Loo on the two questions. Number one is about the AI in Malaysia. What we can do in Malaysia. And then your last take home message.
Okay. I think the adoption rate of AI in Malaysia is still relatively low compared to, some of the developed country. We are very strong in retail, in medical. I think it's start picking up the pace. So there are a long way to go. I think the gap, the major gap in deployment of AI is about production. How to make AI ready for production. Actually, there's a big gap between research and production. If you really want to commercialize the AI, it's not that simple. Not only about the optimization of the code, but also a human must in the loop, the acceptance level of all the stakeholders. So training is important, the awareness is important, and always can go for a lower hanging fruit first. Test and run the project for 6 months, see the success. When you go to the really groundwork, you will see AI is not as good as you imagine. There are a lot of flaws in the AI actually. So we should not really take the AI as a hit. We should really look at what the AI can do and what AI cannot do. So the takeaway message is, if Malaysia really want to go for a big scale of AI deployment, we must actually look into the production AI rather than on the research level AI. This is my message. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Loo. Prof. Ezlika.
Hi, I'm so excited to meet everyone and see, look at how you guys have been working so hard, and I've learned a lot from the session today. My opinion on the level of uptake in Malaysia, like other speakers just now, yes, I feel that it is still long way to go. In terms of the technology readiness as well, we are not really ready. It's important to create the awareness that the importance of AI. Maybe if they are worried, if there's a perception that AI is scary, if there's a perception, like for example, AI, there's a concern on, for example, security, privacy, which is very important, very important concern. We need to educate, or maybe brand it differently. Instead of using the word AI, you can brand it like Dr. Ilhaamie have already show us just now. There's a lot of brands in Malaysia. We don't know even that is AI. AI is just what the things happening behind it. But the what consumer or user want to see is whether it is convenient, whether it is can complete certain tasks fast, whether it is how they consume the content. They don't really understand what's happening behind it. So I think the most important thing is to create awareness and also the branding of the AI, instead of putting it as AI or robotics or something like scary, maybe name it as Netflix or Spotify or, something like that. Yes.
Okay.
That's all from me.
Thank you, Prof. How about Professor Ilhaamie? Take on the future of AI in Malaysia and also your take-home message.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Chuan. I learned very much from Prof. Louis, Prof. Adina, and Prof. Ezlika. So I have a sore throat today. I have already introduced you to the example of Alibaba. So Alibaba is an example of AI in Malaysia. But along that way, AI is very much infant in Malaysia. Even though it has been started in 1980s, but Malaysia is catching quite slow compared to other countries. And other than Alibaba, there are other businesses like Nam Hyong, Ipoh Soho, Damen Mall in Subang, which all of them uses AI. So I think other than that, maybe they are not well known, maybe because they are using wrong business model, or maybe they are using a wrong digital business model. So I hope that by the time Malaysia is learning about all those of AI technologies and also business model and digital business model, Malaysia will be catching up with other countries. Thank you, Prof. Johan.
Okay, thank you. How about Dr. Ahmed Hussein?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, it is somehow like I'm quite different a bit, but I can see that the potential to apply the AI not necessary to be only that one touching the behavior of the human and will be available for everyone. But actually, we can look at the application of the AI for a certain major application. For example, for the flood forecasting, for example. This one actually it could be also it will not be related to the people. It will be managed by a decision maker people, but of course it will be reflected to the whole areas that affecting by flooding from time to time, and it has been actually applied in different places when I was in also as well. There are some other places that it already running by the telemetry system, and all of the data acquired has been also analyzed by the AI, and it is somehow like it is not of interest for the people, but for the decision maker for this particular area, they already taken care and got alarming. Then they can make any kind of evacuation and save the life and so on. So, and also it could be also used for a particular study, like it could be a certain device that it can make measuring for the water quality rather than paying a lot of money for the lab analysis and wasting time and money. So it will be if a cooperation and with someone like from the also Ministry of Environment can get engaged with us, we can come out with a certain device that it can be rely on the AI and can overcome all of the problem of the time consuming and the money wise for the lab analysis and so on. Yes, it might be not 100% accurate as Professor, I agree with Professor Loo, but it will give somehow like a very good picture. This is actually all of our, from the engineering point of view, we shouldn't be like very straight and very highly accurate, but within a certain level of accuracy, it could be a good picture for the decision maker to take a decision. And I think the potential is very high in Malaysia, but it needs as a challenge that it is the data availability from the key person in the whatever authority, and also the expert team like Professor Loo and all of the colleagues here. I think we can do something in different areas that it might not necessary to really touching all of the people. It will be only handled by the people, and based on that you can take a decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof, on this AI matter. I think for me, I think the AI have a great opportunity in Malaysia, and we should not be left out in this advancement, right? Other country is progressing very fast. Whether we like it or not, we have to adapt to AI. As just now I mentioned the COVID-19, right? Whether we like it or not, right? We have to have the online meeting, right? I know that before the COVID-19, right? People are reluctant to have this online meeting by giving a lot of others, excuses and so on, right? Okay, but you can see that they need to adapt to this new norm, right? That's why we have online meeting, right? And so far it's progressing quite well. Okay, of course there are shortfall. Of course, a physical meeting is more preferable, right? But the online meeting also have their own advantages because there we have attract more audience. So for come to AI, I think there's a great opportunities, right? Especially in UM, we have a lot of talent in UM. And this is the hidden gems, the hidden what you call jewels in that we didn't know about it. So that's the Rockstar tour, is to dig up this jewels, right? So that we can, right, harvest this potential. Okay, and if we work together as a team, right, and promote this kind of research, I think we will be a great. Okay, UM will be great again, right? This is my message now. Okay, I think as mentioned by I noticed the speaker, Professor Adina, has mentioned before that they come together, okay, as a group, right, without any fundings. That's the spirit. I think that's the spirit that is very important. We work together, okay, we come together, we have this strong networkings, and then only, right, if you want to look for funding, you want to look for resources, then if you do it together, it's much more easier. I'm not saying it will be easy or become automatic, you'll get something that you want. But if we work as a group, right, it will be much more easier to get the resources. Okay, so the message to all the participants is that those are interested, right, to join or to what we call to collaborate with all these researchers, please welcome. You can email them, right? Okay, I think you can easily find their email address and their biographies in the expert. Okay, thank you very much for your time, the speakers, and I also want to thank the secretariat spending a lot of effort to make this research star tour. Okay, and I would like to inform also, next month we also have the research rock stars on the 26th of October. Okay, thank you very much. I will pass it to Madam Mary for the closing. You're mute. You still are mute. Can't hear you. Cannot. It's okay. I think. Is it? Can you try again?
Can you hear me now?
Right now, yeah, yes.
Okay, sorry for that. Okay, new normal. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Juan, and thank you very much to all our distinguished speakers this morning. So on behalf of the Research Cluster Office, we would like to express our gratitude and appreciation to all our distinguished speakers, especially once again, thank you, and fellow audience, especially to those from outside as well as our communities for tuning in to our session this morning despite your busy schedule. So I would appreciate your feedback in the link given in the chat box so that we can improve. So before we end the session, to our speakers especially, let's turn on our camera for the photo taking session. Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. One, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I'd
you.
like to thank you everybody for your support and time. Have a great weekend ahead.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
day. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.